Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be taking you through the process of cutting and sewing this beautiful shift dress with a bias. Alright, without wasting much time, let's dive into the tutorials. I have my fabric already folded into two. Then I have some measurements inserted already. This is my shoulder line. This is for my chest line. Then I have my waistline, my hip line. Then I have the full length of the fabric I'm making. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, this is the full length. So without wasting much time, let's proceed. So what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to get 1.5 inches. Meanwhile, we're working on the front bodice first. So I'm going to get 1.5 inches all the way, because there is slit at the front and we'll be needing allowance to fold in the slit. So I'm going to go ahead and make a straight line there all the way down. So after getting this straight line for my slit, the next thing I'm going to do is to impute my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So my shoulder measurement when divided by 2 is 7 inches. So on this other part, I'm going to determine the length of my sleeve, and I'll be using total of 7 inches, but to have a band, like 1.5 inches band. So I'm going to go ahead to mark 6 inches for the band. Okay, so on this particular place, I'll take out 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope. Then for the neck width, I'm using neck width of 3 inches. So I'm going to mark 3 inches here. Then neck width of 7 inches. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect the line because it's a V neckline. Then for my shoulder slope, I'm going to go ahead and connect all the way to the shoulder. Then once I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is to get the total measurement of what I have here. This is 13 inches. Then I'm going to reduce it by 1 inch. So on this part, I'm going to mark 12 inches on my chest line. Then I'm going to connect it all the way to this shoulder line. Alright, so as soon as we are done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is to start imputing my measurements. So on this particular point, the chest line, I'm going to get my bust measurements divided by 4, which is about 8 inches. Then I'm going to add 1.5 inches to it. Then on this waistline, I'm going to take my waist measurements divided by 4, which is about 7 inches. Then I'm going to add 1.5 inches for. Then on the hip line, I'm going to also do the same. Take my hip measurement divided by 4 and add 1.5 inches to it. Then whatsoever I have on my hip line, I'm going to transfer the measurements to the hemline. Alright, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead to connect all the lines together. So from the chest line, I'm going to connect to the waistline, then to hip line and to the hemline. Alright, so you can just go ahead and blend this place. Just give it a little bit of curve. Then once you're done with that, you can go ahead and cut out your pattern. Alright, so as soon as that is done, you can go ahead and shape this place a bit. Then I'm going to go ahead and split this into 2. Alright, so for the back bodies, I already have my fabric folded into 2. So my fabric is on fold, then I placed the front pattern on it. So to avoid having your dress move to the back, we are going to be increasing the shoulder by 1 inch, just 1 inch. Then from here, I'm going to move in here by 3 inches. Then for my back neck legs, I'm using 1 inch. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect the line together. Alright, so once I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to measure 17 inches where my waistline is. This is my waistline, 17 inches. Then from here, I'm going to come in here by one inch to avoid back bulge. Then I'm going to go up by 9 inches. Then I'm coming down by 7 inches. Or you can just take it 7 inches, 7 inches. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect the line. Then I'm going to place back my pattern, my front pattern. Then take this 1 inch that we took out. I'm going to reinsert it here. Make sure to align your fabric properly. Then once you insert it, this is 1 inch. Then I'm going to go ahead and reconnect the line. You can use your free hand. Make sure to blend the line very well so you won't have issues. Alright, so this is my back pattern and this is the front pattern. Alright, so I'm going to reshape this back pattern using this front panel. Alright, so for my pocket, I folded my fabric this way, then measured 12 inches. Okay, this is 12 inches from this line. Then the width is about 8.5 inches. So I'm just going to mark 7 inches for the opening. So make sure that your hand can fit in properly. Then from this 7 inches, you mark out 1 inch, just 1 inch. Then you make a very nice curve. So this is for one side of the pocket. I'm going to get another piece for the other side of the pocket. So at this point, I'm going to mark where I'm going to position my pocket, and it's going to come down 17 inches from here. Alright, so this is the front part, the back piece. So I'm going to fix the pocket on it. So this is the right side of my fabric and this is the right side of my pocket. So I'm going to fix it this way, right side facing each other. Then I'm going to secure. So I'm just going to stitch on it this way. Okay, then on the other side I will do the same. For the front piece, I'm also going to do the same. This is the front part of my fabric, so I'm going to align it front side facing front side. Alright, so after inserting the pockets, this is what we have. Then I'm going to close up this front part starting from this end. Then I'm going to measure 7 inches from the hemline, and I'm going to stop somewhere here. So let me take it to the sewing machine and do that. Alright, so after stitching, this is what I have. If you notice, I stitched exactly on this 1.5 inches of allowance, exactly on the line I drew earlier. So I'm going to open it up, then iron it. The next thing I'm going to do now is to cover up this neckline. You can go ahead and use your bias to cover it. So but mine, I'll be using a facing for it, so I cut this fabric out. So I'm going to cut out the shape of my neckline. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine to stitch. Then after which I'll flip to the back and secure these lines. Alright, so after piping the neckline, the next thing I'm going to do is to get this velvet bias. I have about 3 yards. So I'm going to place it on this part. Then I'm going to take it through the center part that I covered and stitch all the way to the hem. So I'll stitch on the two edges until I get to the hem. Alright, so after inserting the bias on the both sides, this is what we have. So I went ahead to give it a very nice press, as you can see. Then when I was sewing this place, I had to pleat these two ends so that I will have a very nice curve here. So after aligning it together, next is to get back for the facing and cut out exactly what I have there. So the fabric is on fold anyway. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. Then I'm going to, this is the right side of my fabric, this is the right side of this. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. Then I'm going to stitch all the way down. Then I'll get the second one and do the same. Alright, so after stitching, this is what I have, and I went ahead to notch this area so that when I turn it to the other side, it will be well relaxed. So as soon as I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is to measure from my neck depth to 21 inches, depending on the measurement of your client and your zip, or just take your zipper, then you go ahead and measure and get a line. Then from there you are going to stitch all the way down with 1.5 inches. Okay, just 1.5 inches, the allowance you left earlier for the zipper. So I'm going to stitch it all the way down. Then once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and fix my zip, and once I'm done with that, I'll let you know the next step. Alright, so after attaching the zipper, this is what it looks like. Then I also went ahead to attach this bias at the neckline. So next thing now is to get my front bodice. Then I'm going to align it and stitch at the shoulder with 1/2 inch on the two shoulders. Then after that, I have a band already cut out. It's about 2 inches, the width is about 2 inches, then the length is about 20 inches. It should be able to cover the two of this. So after stitching this, I'm going to open it up this way. Then I'm going to attach this band to it using 1/2 inch, just this way. Then after that, I'm going to do the same to the other side, and I'll get back to you. Alright, so after joining the sleeve, this is what we have. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is to join the two sides. So to do that, I'm going to align this fabric. Alright, so at this point, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and stitch. When I get to this place, I'll take it over to the pocket side, and just like that, I'm going to follow this pattern and complete it. Then once I'm done with that, I'm going to take it over to the other side and stitch exactly like this. Alright, so I'm done stitching, as you can see. The next thing I'm going to do now is just to close up this part, and to do that, I'm going to use my hemming gum and close it up.